Donald Trump set to be back in the White House in just 11 days. And with Republican majorities in both chambers of Congress, Washington will be firmly under his control. Across the country, Republicans are falling in line. The Georgia GOP voting to oust a Trump critic who was once one of its leaders. In a unanimously passed resolution this week, the state party expelled their own former lieutenant governor, Jeff Duncan, arguing he undermined Republican candidates and used his affiliation with the party for personal gain. The resolution also bans Duncan from running in any future races as a Republican. Duncan, who has criticized Trump for his efforts to overturn Georgia's 2020 election results, endorsed Harris in the 2024 race.
If Republicans are being intellectually honest with ourselves, our party is not civil or conservative. It's chaotic and crazy. And the only thing left to do is dump Trump.
All right, joining us now to discuss is Jeff Duncan, former Republican lieutenant governor of Georgia. Jeff, always wonderful to see you on the show. Can you talk a little bit about what it was like to learn that this resolution was going forward in the party that you were once a significant leader of?
Yeah, I mean, my first thoughts that came across my mind were what took them so long. There's been a growing divide between myself and the Georgia Republican Party for years. There's been a growing divide amongst many Republicans in Georgia. When the party started focusing 110% of their efforts on trying to defend a rigged 2020 election, in their words, not mine, and committing 100% of their financial resources, or a majority of their financial resources, to defending folks that were indicted for felony counts. And then the additional issues that continue to parlay from that point. So no surprise. And quite honestly, badges of honor come in all kinds of shapes and sizes. And this is one of those where I don't want to be associated with a group that thinks that the best direction forward is chaos and confusion.
What do you think is the best direction forward? Democrats are doing some introspection, at least, in terms of trying to figure out how to deal with a second Donald Trump presidency, some of them talking about doing it differently than they did in 2017. What do you think the best way is to approach President Trump when he comes back?
Well, I think two parts to that question, or to the answer. I think one is it's up to Donald Trump. If he shows up and wants to be a serious leader that takes on some serious challenges and tackles them with a level head, I think there's an opportunity for the Republican Party to kind of heal up and get back on its tracks. But if he continues to be a petulant child and only look to satisfy grievances that him and his family have, then this is going to be a train wreck for 4 years. But I think the second part to that answer is that both parties have a leadership problem, right? Republicans have the wrong leader at the head of their party, and Democrats have no leader at the head of their party. And so there's this vacuum of genuine leadership. And this has been something I've been saying for a long time now. I even wrote a book about it, that this vacuum of leadership is just leaving Americans to just, be one issue at a time, just blowing in the wind. And we, the people, have got to be more strict with our requirements for who leads us, as to giving us exact reasons why we go down these paths. I mean, looking for press conferences to talk about taking over Greenland and trying to annex Canada and rename the Gulf. I mean, these are unserious ideas that don't take us across these serious policy gaps that we have coming across our plate.
So speaking of leaders, Jeff, President Biden did an interview with Susan Page of the USA Today, an exit interview. It's his only print interview. Now, he did tell Susan Page, when she asked him directly, do you believe that you could have won in November? And he says, it's presumptuous to say that, but yes, I think based on the polling. And then she jumps in and she says, and it's this part that really stood out to me. She said, do you think you'd have the vigor to serve another 4 years in office? And Biden responds, I don't know. Who the hell knows? So far, so good, but who knows what I'm going to be when I'm 86 years old? It strikes me, and I'm curious what you think about that admission, considering that he did, when everyone knew that Donald Trump might be returning as the nominee for the Republican Party, and Democrats were casting that as an essentially apocalyptic outcome, considering what happened on January 6th, what they called threats to democracy, that he went ahead and ran for re-election anyway.
Well, the position I sit in today is just calling honest balls and strikes, sitting in the middle. And the honest, balls and strikes call there with Joe Biden is no, he would not have won. I think Kamala Harris was an electoral improvement and gave the Democrats a better chance to beat Donald Trump. But unfortunately, obviously, it came up short. And with regards to his age, I had a conversation with him a few weeks before that debate, the CNN debate, and he was very cognitively aware and very charismatic. But obviously, when we watched the debate play out, there was a demise that we weren't aware of. And look, the truth of the matter is, I don't believe he was physically prepared to be able to lead this country for 4 more years. It's unfortunate because if you're now looking back retrospectively, I think the campaign for a Democrat to win the White House was lost within hours of him being sworn in 2021, when he walked back from the drove back from the Capitol to the White House and signed a stack of executive orders unwinding the border policy, and then waited 3+ years to actually say that was a mistake. That was huge. That gave a huge marketing opportunity or campaign opportunity to Donald Trump, but also was real. The void of the border was real and felt by Americans in pretty much all 50 states.
Yeah. Briefly, Jeff, I do want to ask you, President Carter is, of course, from your home state of Georgia. He's set to be, his funeral will be today in Washington. He'll be laid to rest in Plains later on today. What legacy do you think President Carter leaves?
Yeah, for me, the stories that I constantly hear is he was just a man of faith. He was not afraid to love his neighbor and do it loudly and proudly. And I think that's a genuine trait that our leaders sorely miss all across our country. And I think Jimmy Carter had a huge heart, and his heart was bigger than his politics. And I don't think that's a bad thing.
All right, Jeff Duncan, very grateful to have you on the show, as always, sir. Thank you so much. Hope to see you in person next time you're here in Washington.
Absolutely.